The battlefield was silent in the way only true devastation could create. Smoke drifted lazily across shattered stone and twisted metal, glowing faintly orange where orbital strikes had melted the ground into glass. The sky above the planet Caris, 9 burned with the remnants of 2 clashing fleets, wreckage falling like dying stars. What had once been a proud colony world was now a graveyard shared by 2 species who no longer remembered why the war had started, only that it had to be finished. I lay on my back among the ruins, my rifle shattered beside me, my armor cracked and bleeding power. Every breath burned. My HUD flickered uselessly, warnings cascading across my vision until they finally went dark. Footsteps approached. Heavy. Deliberate. I didn't need to look up to know what stood over me. A karate warrior. The karate were everything humanity feared in war. Taller than humans by a full head, built like living siege engines, their gray-blue skin was reinforced with natural plating. Their 4 eyes glowed amber beneath crested brows, and their armor, grown rather than forged, seemed fused to their bodies. They were a species bred for honor-bound conquest, and once they marked a target, they never stopped. I forced myself to lift my head. She stood over me with her blade raised, its edge humming with lethal energy. Blood, human and alien, streaked her armor. One of her horns was cracked, and a long gash ran across her side, still smoking faintly. She had earned this victory. I was Captain Daniel Reyes, 3rd Expeditionary Marines, and this was where I was supposed to die. I closed my eyes and waited. The blade didn't fall. Seconds stretched. I opened my eyes again. She was still there, but her weapon was lowering. Her gaze bore into me, unblinking, searching. This wasn't mercy. Karate warriors didn't hesitate out of pity. Something else was happening. "You fight," she said, her voice rough but clear through the translator. "Even when defeat is certain." I coughed. Part of the job. Her grip tightened on the blade. "Why?" I laughed weakly. "You really want my life story right now?" She ignored the sarcasm. "Answer." I swallowed, pain flaring. "Because someone has to hold the line." Her eyes narrowed. "Again," she said. "You speak this phrase as if it is sacred." "It is," I replied. She tilted her head slightly, studying me like a puzzle she didn't want to solve. Around us, distant weapons fire echoed. The war wasn't over, just paused in this small pocket of ruin. She deactivated her blade. Every karate on the battlefield froze. My calm crackled with frantic whispers. "Captain." She powered down. "What's happening?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. The alien warrior knelt before me, placing the blade on the ground between us. Then she asked the question that would echo across 2 civilizations. "Human," she said, her voice steady but strained. "What happens when there is no line left to hold?" The battlefield seemed to hold its breath. The karate commander, because that's what she was, I realized, waited for my answer with the patience of someone who could kill me at any moment. I stared at her, at the alien face twisted not with hatred, but confusion. "No one's ever asked us that before," I said slowly. "Answer," she repeated. "Your kind claims resilience, defiance, but all things break." I nodded. "You're right. Everything breaks." Her jaw tightened, as if expecting triumph in that admission. "But," I continued, "we don't stop when we break." Her eyes flickered. "When there's no line left," I said, "we make one." Silence. She stared at me, something unreadable passing through her expression. "You rebuild in the middle of war?" she asked. "We rebuild because of it." Her breathing slowed. "This war began because your species refused to retreat from karate expansion." "We refuse to abandon people," I corrected. "There's a difference." She looked away just briefly. That world, she said, gesturing toward the ruined horizon, was claimed lawfully by our codes. And it was already home to civilians, I replied.
Kids.
Families. Farmers who didn't even know what a karate was. Her claws flexed. Our codes demand strength, she said. Weakness invites extinction. Funny, I said hoarsely. We believe the opposite. She looked back at me sharply. Explain. I struggled to sit up. She didn't stop me. We believe protecting the weak is how you survive, I said. Because someday you are weak. Her gaze hardened. Karate, do not become weak. I met her eyes. You're bleeding. She stiffened. So am I added. So is your fleet. So is mine. We're all weaker than we were yesterday. Her grip on the ground tightened. You still fight, she said. Even now. Because if we don't, I replied, someone else pays the price. She was silent for a long time. The war raged around us, but in that ruined plaza, time slowed. What is your name? She asked suddenly. Daniel Reyes, I said. Captain. She straightened. I am Valkara, first blade of the Karate Vanguard. My comm exploded with alarm. Captain, multiple karate signatures converging on your position. Valkara's eyes flicked upward. They will kill you, she said. Yeah, I admitted. That's usually how this ends. She stood, placing herself between me and the approaching figures. What are you doing? I demanded. She didn't look back. Answering your question. The first karate warriors arrived seconds later, weapons raised. First blade, one shouted. Step aside. The human lives. Valkara raised her hand. They do not, she said. This one is mine. That human has slaughtered dozens, another roared. Finish it. Valkara turned slowly, her eyes blazing. This human fought, she said, even when defeat was certain. That is not reason. It is everything, she snapped. The warriors hesitated. I struggled to my feet behind her, leaning against broken stone. Valkara continued, her voice carrying. He fought not for conquest, not for glory, but to delay us so others could escape. Murmurs rippled through the karate ranks. That is not weakness, she said. That is a strength our codes never named. Human forces began to push back into the plaza, weapons trained, confused by the standoff. I heard my commander shouting orders, unsure whether to advance or hold. Valkara raised her voice again. This war began because we believed humans refused to yield out of defiance, she said. I have looked into one human's eyes and learned the truth. She turned to face both armies. They refused to yield because they believe someone must stand. The air vibrated with tension. First blade, a karate officer said cautiously, What do you propose? Valkara glanced back at me. What happens when there is no line left? She asked again, quietly only for me. I swallowed. Then we become the line. She nodded once. Then she did the unthinkable. She planted her blade into the ground. This war ends here, Valkara declared. Shock rippled through both sides. The karate will withdraw, she said. Not in defeat, but in understanding. Human comms erupted in disbelief. The karate warriors stared at their commander, stunned. You cannot decide this alone, one protested. I can, she replied, because I am First Blade, and because I have seen what waits if we continue. She turned to me one last time.